So where does this start? How does that apply to us? For us as a church, I want you to know that it starts with the leadership. Now, if you come along to me afterwards and say, you've got to make all the tea and coffee, you've missed the point of what I've been trying to, struggling to share with you. Can't even think of my word. But where's it started for us as a church? It started at the board level. Ooh. You can go, ooh. Oh, no. In fact, it started and they didn't even know it started, but that's all right. Now, I want you to know that the board members, your elders here, have great hearts. They're great people. And I honor them. I think they're fantastic. I'm not sure what you think is going on behind closed doors, because one or two of you said, we really pray for you when we know you've got a meeting coming up. It must be so hard. I'm not sure if you think it's like WrestleMania or something in there. Sorry to disappoint you. Sometimes we laugh. There's a really good spirit in the leadership of this church. I want you to know that. But I want us to consider for a few moments one or two of the changes that we brought. And one of the things that, some of the things I'm going to share with you, we're going to present more on at the AGM, the annual Thanksgiving meeting at the end of February. So don't worry if you get lost, because I've still got 27 points to share with you. But just to give you a brief summary, one of the things that confuses me a bit is the language of boards. I don't know. What do you do with boards? You make furniture out of it. I'm not sure what we do with it. And so, not being a businessman, I just struggle with this. It all sounds like it's management down. And I struggle with that a little bit. When I arrived, though, one of the things we started to do was to review the work and the roles of the ministry team, and to talk through the roles of the board and what we were doing and why we were doing it. And so we rewrote everyone's job description in the ministry team. I just want to say as a caveat, that's not why Pastor Mike and Pastor Penny moved on. They just felt called to go somewhere else. That surprised us all. But we were doing that. And because we were making those changes, we've taken those changes in our stride, although possibly feeling a little bit depleted. But I just want to mention Gareth to you. Here he is, front row. Let's embarrass him now and say, hello, Gareth. All right, don't say hello, Gareth. Now, here we go. Gareth, and this is just headlines. You might have questions about this. Please ask us questions. You don't have to stall them up for an annual general meeting. I'd rather you just ask questions through the year. It just makes everyone's life a lot easier. But anyway, Gareth's going to be moving out of youth, which he was going to be doing anyway. Okay? He's going to move out of youth. He's now ministering training, so we want to give him more opportunity to develop the gift and the call that's in his life. Is that all right? Well, it's done anyway. You might say, surely you need to ask us permission. Actually not. Don't need to, but we're just letting you know in mid-sermon what sacrifice means for us as a leadership here. So Gareth is moving out of youth, and he's going to have several areas that will be his responsibility. He'll work in media. He's going to look at the area of teaching, some of our printed teaching material. He's going to chair one of the teams that I'm going to mention in a moment. And he's also going to be assisting with pastoral care and duties and some ad hoc things. So let me just say this. You might be saying, how are we going to survive without a really big ministry team? I actually think, and it came out the board, it wasn't my thinking, but it became my thinking, that what we've done is we haven't created an opportunity for people to serve in pastoral care because we've been trying to do it all, which I think is really unfair. But can I say this? If you need a pastor, ring the office and Gareth or I will respond. But let me know this. If either of us respond, it's as good as either of us responding. So if Gareth comes to see you, don't go, it's not Keith. It's fine. If I come to see you, don't go, no, it's not Gareth. I really wanted a doctor. I don't need you. I want the intelligent sounding prayers. I don't want the stuff you pray. Understand, if one of us comes to see you, that is pastoral visit. But also understand, if your life group leader follows you up because you haven't been at life group for a week or two, or if one of your life group members comes and sees you and say, can we have a cup of tea or coffee? That's also caring. It doesn't have to be dressed up like this or dressed up like him. It's dressed up as this, as all of us, isn't it? So I want to just say that to us. So Gareth is having sacrificed an area that he loves. However, he is still going to have overall oversight of what the young people are doing. Is that right? Because I'm way too old to go back there. So that's meant that we've got a vacancy in youth. And what we've done, after some prayer consideration, is Miles Connor. And some of you would know Miles. Miles has accepted a 6-month contract to work with the 11 to 15-year-olds, which is good for him and his development. That age group relate really well to Miles. They do. Some of you are sitting there going, oh, my poor child is over in youth. And Miles has been leading that group anyway for the last 4 or 5 months, I believe, and doing a great job with your teenagers. And if you're a parent or a grandparent, some of that age group, you might want to go and thank Miles just for being godly before them. You know, you might not understand his language, but then I don't. I'm 45 this year. Okay, but that doesn't matter. And you might say, why is that a 6-month contract? Because I don't want to say this out loud, but we think God has bigger plans for Miles. Is that all right? So we're giving the young man a taste, but Gareth still has supervision. And that means that the 16-year-old group, the 16 pluses, are going to come and start joining with us on Sunday mornings. I know. Who'd have thunk it? So, and they won't just be joining us, they're going to join various teams. They're not going to take over teams, they're going to join a stewardship team, join PA and sound, join the tea and coffee making rota. Because what we don't want to raise up is a generation of consumers. All right, because we're really good at that. And sadly, many churches, that's what we've done. And so that means that a 16-year-old is going to get 2 years of church fellowship with all of you while still having their youth meetings during the week so that they understand what church is about when they leave here and go to university and join a strange church. And all of a sudden, oh, I'm in this church. What does it mean? So we're going to train up next generation to serve. Isn't that great? I'm excited by that. I think it's brilliant. Now, do pray for Gareth and I. Pray for Gareth more than me, actually, because, you know, it is a step up for everyone. However, several other things have changed. Let me just say this. Our leadership structure has seemed to be top down. I'm going to go back to our sermon in just a second or two. But it's been top down. And what we've done, thinking about boards and all these things, it's just headlines there, but just say the church board has been replaced by an oversight team. You might say, why are you calling it oversight? Because in the New Testament, elders were overseers. So it's an oversight team. If you're wondering, do we call them board members? Can you just call them by their first name? That would help. You can call me by my first name. The only people that call me reverend is my bank manager. But you can refer to them as elders because that's really what they are. Many of us would understand what that means. The management board has been replaced by a thing called an enterprise team, and behind all of this is new terms of reference and things. A finance board is a finance team. We are forming an outreach team. We'll be doing that in the next week or so and approaching people. We have a nursery team who will focus on the working of the nursery. We then have Gareth and I, who I couldn't find another word for ministry team, but if we want to look at who's in a ministry team, look to your left and right. We're all in the ministry team, but I guess in a way that's headed up by Gareth and I. And then I've put their leadership team. So what we're going to do with these groups, and for those of you that know our structure well, and I apologize if this confuses some, for those of you who know our structure well, we have 6 areas of ministry. They still exist to a large degree underneath this, the only difference being the outreach team. So they still exist. This is kind of what happens above and around all of those things. It's sort of the gluey bits that hold it all together. But let me say this, where I've said leadership team there, those teams that are mentioned there, we'll be meeting every 3 months together for a meal and a chat and to see where God's taking us so that what we're really trying to do is to change the leadership structure from top down to bottom up, to invert the pyramid so that you go away from this service saying, actually, the pecking order is that Keith is chicken number 10. If there is a pecking order, then I'm on the bottom of that. For when I am pecked on, who do I peck? When you're pecked on, well, you can tell everybody else. Let's do away with pecking orders, actually. If you're watching the snooker this week, you watching the snooker? My second favourite sport. Just thought you'd like to know. If you're watching the snooker this week, every snooker table is on the same level, but every ball has a different value. And every ball has a different function. And they don't struggle with each other. You don't see the black ball arguing with the pink ball. I want to be the pink ball today. That just wouldn't work. Think of it as a level playing field, a level table. We're on the level. That should at least excite one of us.